Hey, hello guys, welcome back. This is Viren Kumar. So today in this video session, I am going to discuss about the YAML pipeline concept. How we can design our first YAML pipeline. What are the pipeline key concepts that we should remember? Before going to design a pipeline using the YAML language, you need to understand few concepts of the YAML language and the pipeline. If you are aware about the pipeline concept, then you can easily design your pipeline through the scripting. And this is very important for the configurations concept. I'm going to discuss all the mistakes which we made during the designing of the YAML pipelines. I will give all the error related information, how we can remove all these errors and how we can design the pipelines. So this is a very important video for who is going to design the YAML pipelines, and it is very important for them. So on my screen you can see that this is a pipeline concept. Generally we know what is the pipeline and what is the pipe. So pipeline is a way by which we are providing the input, and on the second end we are getting the output. Just like our water pipelines, we are providing the water from one side and we're getting the water from the second side. Same concept we applied in our software industry for the DevOps. In the DevOps, the pipeline concept is where we're providing the one stage input and we are getting the stage output. And this stage output we are providing another stage that will be the as an input, and we are getting the output. A pipeline workflow defines the test, build, and the deployment steps are run. Software industry, we have the three concepts: development of the software, building of the software, and testing of the software. In this software industry, if we know all these terms, we can design the pipeline also. Now coming to the Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps provides the develop, test, and deploy CI/CD workflow. Basically, we are designing the workflow, okay, for the CI/CD pipelines, and that will do the develop, test, and deploy of our software code. And these are the compatible with any language. Your software can be in Java, Python, PHP, .NET, in any programming language, and these pipelines are compatible with all these languages. These pipelines are cloud based and platform independent. Okay, so you don't need to worry about if you are using a Windows machine or Linux machine or Macintosh machines. These pipelines works platform independently, and we can access these pipelines on the cloud. Basically, Azure Pipelines helps to automate the build and the deployment with the pipelines by saving and the giving the scope for the innovations. It can save the manual efforts. Now, the Azure DevOps pipeline key concept. First is the stage. So what is the stage? The stage is contain one and more jobs. Okay. The one concept is the staging concept. We will define first the stage when we are designing the YAML pipeline. So what is the stage will do? It will have one and more jobs, just like the stage of the test stage, deployment stage, and the development stage. Okay. Once the stage is ready, we will define one job under this stage. Now what this job will do? The job will run on the agent. So each job runs on the agent, and a stage can contain one or more jobs. So a stage have the one job, or it can have the multiple jobs. And these jobs run on the agents. It represents an execution boundary of the set of the steps. One job have the steps. Okay. And the step, what is the step? The step is the smallest building block of the pipeline. In the step, we define our script, the smallest task. The step having the task, we define the task. So what? Suppose we have the build stage. So under the build stage, we design a one job for the building, and in the step we will do the Maven task. So Maven task will do the building for this stage. So this is the one stage concept. So these are the basic key concept of the Azure DevOps pipeline. You should understand. First we have the stage. Under the stage we have the job, and under the job we have the step, and step is the smallest block of the pipeline which have the script or the task. Now let's understand by this diagram. A pipeline one is triggered. Okay. Then a pipeline is triggered, and a pipeline can have the multiple stages. Stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3. And a stage have the agent and the job. The job will run on this agent 1. This job will run on this agent 2. Okay? And jobs can have the dependency also. So pipeline having the stage having the job and the agent, and the job is having the steps. So in steps, there are multiple steps we can define under a job. You cannot define steps under directly to the stage. If you want to define the step, first you need to define a job. Then a job can have multiple stages. A job can have multiple steps, and steps can have the multiple script, task, or one more task. Okay, and steps. So this is the simple diagram and the flow of the key concept of the pipeline. Now we are thinking how we can design the pipelines in the Azure DevOps. This is a very important key questions, that how to design the pipelines. If I don't know about the YAML programming scripting language, then how I can design my own CI/CD pipelines in Azure DevOps. Okay, so let's assume this is the one person who joined this organization recently, and his manager asked him to design a pipeline. He was confused. He has the two ways to design a pipeline. One, he can design through the classic view, that we call the UI part. There no need of the programming is required. Second, he has the YAML view scripting. So he has two ways to define the pipelines. But he is a fresher. He don't know about the YAML scripting language. Then he will go with the classic UI part. The classic UI part will create and configure the pipelines in the Azure DevOps web portal with the classic user interface editor. I will show on my screen how it looks like the classic view. After some time, so when he become the expert in the Azure DevOps pipeline, he got some understanding. Then he will start understanding the YAML syntax and the schema. Once he come to know what is the YAML syntax and the schema, he will start writing the pipelines into the YAML scripting language. Okay. When he design the YAML scripting language, first he will edit the Azure pipelines.yml file to define the build. Every YAML pipeline have the .yml extensions. You can change or rename these files. So this is the pipeline from where I can access the pipeline sections under the Azure DevOps. So first I will go to this pipeline sections. Under the pipeline sections, I have the one new pipeline tab is there. So I'm going to design the build pipeline. We click on it, and there I have the screen like that. Now if I choose this one, this will take me to the YAML structure. So the new joiner was not aware about the YAML structure. So he will choose the classic editor through the web UI. So here you can see use the classic editor to create a pipeline without YAML. So he will click on this editor link. When he will click on the editor link, he will select the source repository. Okay. So where is course? So Azure DevOps, GitHub, GitHub Enterprise Server, SVN, Bitbucket, or the other Git. Okay, so he will choose the source code. So as of now, for the demo, I have the one repository on the Azure DevOps Git. I will select this one, then I will continue this one. Now I need to select the template. So as of now, first we will click to the empty job. We are not going to configure as a code. We want the empty job through the UI. So what I will do, select the empty job is view. Here I have the task. Under the pipeline sections, I have the CI4. Okay, you can rename these ones. Okay, and the second one, I have the get sources. So the task 1, task 2, source code, checkout. So I'm going to check out the source code. So you can see the code is here. From the master branch, I'm going to check out the code. Task 3, it's the running the job. So I want to run the job 1 on the agent 1. So agent pool, you need to select the agent pool which I defined in the pipeline. So in the pipelines I have Microsoft hosted agent. This is Windows 2019. Okay, this job I have defined. Now I will save this pipeline and then I will queue the pipeline. So to run, you can click on the queue. I will select the pool, select the agent information. My branch is there. Now I want to run this one. Clicking on the run, you will see the screen look like that. Now what is that? The first is the build number. Okay, now the trigger is manually, and this is the agent job 1 which is in the queue. Now this job is running. So we have the basic task. The task first is the we have the basic task. The task 1 is get the source code. So we will get the source code. This is the task 1 under this pipeline, and the check out the code. This is another task and finalizing the job. So this is the one job, a job having the task or the steps. Okay, the flow will look like that. Okay, the job will have the steps or the task. Okay, script or the task. Now this is already started and finished the job. Now coming back to the job, you can see the status is successful. Now the second method of designing this pipeline is the YAML scripting language. So how we can design this one? So for that way we can design the pipeline through the YAML concept. So for that, again we will go to the pipeline section. Under the pipeline sections we have the new tab. So we will click on this one, and then we have the YAML options are there. Where is our source code? If in Azure repos, we can select this one. It's in cloud, we can select this one. GitHub, we can select these options. So like that, where is your code is present, you can select the options. So as of now, my code in the Azure repos, I'm going to click on it. Now I have the two repository. We did a repo one and the test repository. So let's try with the test repository, and after that it will ask you to configure your pipeline. So Maven, through the Maven you want to configure, or you want the starter pipeline. So as a fresher on the initial, you select the starter pipeline. Now you can see this is the basic pipeline here. Okay, and if you want to run this pipeline, then what you can do, you just save and run this pipeline. Okay, now the job 1 is started and this is triggered. Now you can see the task 1, first it will check out the code. Second one is the one line script. Okay, the one line script is saying echo hello world. The multi-line script is that task build, test and deploy our project. This is a multi-line script, post job and finalize job. Now we want to understand this YAML pipeline. So this is the YAML pipeline. It has the steps having the script or the task. Alright, so this is the one basic demo of the pipelines which is generated automatically by the system. Okay, this will give you the idea. This is a trigger and what are the steps, what is the script, everything we will write the code here. Okay, this is the starter pipeline we can create and we have run this starter pipeline. Now we want to design our own pipeline, so we need to modify these pipelines here. This is the YAML pipeline editor window.